Straight ahead on 12 News, convicted and on the run. The Brooklyn Park fugitive wanted for a large-scale identity theft case. Then, Hennepin County's newest tool to take on crime and a natural disaster. But first, a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could have a significant impact on DWI cases in Minnesota. 12 News starts right now. The U.S. Supreme Court rules police must have a search warrant before testing the blood of a suspected drunken driver.
That could change the way Minnesota police handle DWI cases. Attorneys and local law enforcement are weighing in on the decision, and Renee Bonneau joins us with what they had to say. Renee?
Mike and Alex, DWI defense attorneys say it's a victory for the Constitution. Prosecutors and local law enforcement, meanwhile, say it's simply an added step in the fight to keep drunken drivers off the streets. But all sides still have questions about what this could mean for Minnesota.
Anything to drink tonight?
Wednesday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled law enforcement officers must have a driver's consent or a search warrant before taking a blood sample in a DWI investigation. Attorney Jim Ventura says the Supreme Court justices were not crystal clear on what constitutes consent, and it could be up for debate, especially in Minnesota, where with every driver's license comes implied consent, and it's considered a crime to refuse a blood test.
Because I sought a driver's license when I was 15 and 16, that I gave up a Fourth Amendment privilege to be free from unreasonable searches. It doesn't exactly make sense.
The justices said unless there's an urgent need to draw blood, officers should be able to get a search warrant within a reasonable amount of time.
The United States Supreme Court has acknowledged that today we have telephonic warrants, meaning that you can just pick up the phone, call a judge, tell him what the reason is.
It does change how we do business, but it's not going to stop us from trying to take drunk drivers off the street.
Maple Grove police have consulted with their city prosecutor and say they'll make changes according to the Supreme Court ruling. They say the ruling will mainly be a factor in cases of criminal vehicular homicide or crashes with injuries.
It does add another process as far as getting a search warrant, but you know, we'll get a search warrant and we'll still get the necessary evidence that we need for prosecutions.
The Supreme Court decision rejected ideas raised in two recent rulings by the Minnesota Supreme Court that stated it's okay for police to force a blood sample from someone because alcohol dissipates from the bloodstream in the time it takes to get a warrant. The latest ruling likely won't affect past DWI cases, but attorneys and law enforcement say it could make a difference in pending cases. Mike and Alex.
All right, thanks a lot, Renee. Federal authorities need your help to find a Brooklyn Park man convicted in a multi-state identity theft ring.
A jury convicted Gordon Moore of one count of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and 2 counts of aggravated ID theft. He fled during trial. Authorities say Moore was part of a group that broke into mailboxes, vehicles, and homes to steal personal information, which was used to create counterfeit checks. Moore is one of more than 30 ring members convicted so far. He previously lived in Robbinsdale and has a lengthy criminal history.
It is April, but winter driving skills are still needed as a fresh batch of snow cut visibility and iced up roads. In Rogers, a driver lost control and swerved into a semi-truck carrying a full load of milk. The truck rolled over into the ditch, taking down power lines. It took authorities half an hour to get the truck driver out because of live power lines arcing on the truck. Both drivers were taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
As the snow started piling up on the ground, the last thing you probably thought about was a tornado. It is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so Hennepin County went ahead and held a test of the tornado sirens. A new system will be in place at the end of summer that allows a computer to sound the sirens in neighborhoods affected by severe weather.
Sirens are meant for people outside, not for people in the houses. Just let them know that there's something happening and they need to take shelter and go into take shelter and turn on some kind of media, whether it's the radio or the TV, to find out what's happening.
And with the unusually snowy weather today, several people called in to ask why those sirens went off.
When emergencies happen, some call for help, others rush in to offer help. And that's what a Crystal man did when he spotted a house fire last fall. Now he's being recognized for his heroic efforts. When fire broke out at this Brooklyn Center home last September, firefighters rushed to the scene. But even before they arrived,
at this time, I would like to invite Thomas White to please come forward.
Thomas White stepped forward. Honored with a Citizen Service Medal this week by the Brooklyn Center Police Department, White's actions last September likely saved a life.
There was a gentleman outside running with a cell phone, looked to be in a panic, and the next thing I knew, I was over there. I mean, I could see he needed help, and I ran over.
White was ready to have lunch at a restaurant when he saw smoke coming from a house across the street. He ran over and learned a disabled woman was still inside.
The lady that was in there was in a hospital bed. She was a double amputee, and we just had to get her out of there. I mean, the house was burning, so we got her in a wheelchair, wheeled her through the door and on the ramp, and got her out to where there was fresh air and where she was safe.
A lot of times you see people go above and beyond by calling 911. Sometimes the citizens actually take action.
So often, it's first responders, trained emergency personnel that come to the rescue. Other times, it's guys like Thomas White who feel called to respond.
You know, it was what anybody would do, I would think, or would hope.
In addition to Thomas White, Brooklyn Center Police also recognized several other citizens for coming to the aid of others during an emergency.
The Hennepin County Sheriff says there's only a few like it in the country, a new armored vehicle that will be used in dangerous situations in Hennepin County and all around the upper Midwest. The new vehicle is called the Bear, and there's heavy armor on the outside and tires that can't be punctured. On the inside, officers can hook up to a breathing apparatus or use cameras and thermal imaging to locate criminals. The Bear will be used serving high-risk warrants, evacuating people after a disaster, or when hostages are involved.
As you know, times have changed for local law enforcement in terms of dealing with from homeland security issues to just everyday crimes and those that want to do people harm.
A grant from Homeland Security paid for the $400,000 vehicle. Well, still ahead, the Cooper football players with an impressive off-field accomplishment.
Plus, 4 local baseball teams take the field for weatherproof games inside the Metrodome.
But first, the weather causing all kinds of cancellations. Anoka, Hennepin, Brooklyn Center, Osseo, and Wayzata have canceled all Thursday evening activities.
The cold weather is cooling off the job market. After 7 months of job growth, Minnesota employers cut 5,200 jobs in March. Hiring was weak for restaurant and retail industries sensitive to the weather. And because of the continued cold, a state economist says numbers will likely remain weak for April. On a related note, veterans will have first crack at employers at a job fair hosted by Congressman Eric Paulson. It opens Friday at noon at Normandale College in Bloomington. The first hour is for veterans only. The Robbinsdale Cooper football team had a successful season.
But the team is now getting accolades for something off the field. Sonia Goins has more.
While football is their game, these gridiron stars are preparing for life after football.
I'm going to the University of Iowa on an athletic scholarship.
I'm going to Winona State University.
I'm going to the College of Science and Engineering at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities.
Alex Marvin is the president of the National Honor Society. He says athletics and academics go hand in hand.
You have to be paying attention. You have to be alert the entire time. And it's sort of the same way with school. You have to be alert and paying attention to succeed.
The Cooper Hawks are flying high with academics. 23 out of 26 seniors on the football team are going to college.
I always attack academics like it was a football game.
Malik Rucker is also an honor roll student.
For me to be as successful as I am on the field, it took place first in the classroom because I'm a student athlete and the student comes first.
Grades in school comes before anything else.
Deshaun Williams is also on the honor roll. The linebacker tackles the books hard.
Well, it's a challenge, but it helps you with time management and becoming a better person.
It's picked off. It's going to be returned. Goodness. It's Billy Kellogg, the senior captain for the Cooper Hawks.
Running back Billy Kellogg has made an impressive run.
102-yard return.
Education is highly important because even though you might be good on the football field, you still have to hit your book.
He's made the honor roll 3 years in a row.
It makes me proud of myself because not only am I a good athlete, but I know I can go to other places outside of football.
If we can be students in the classroom, it's a lot easier to be students on the football field.
Coach Willie Howard says his game plan includes a whole lot more than strategy on the field.
We're going to put our eggs in education, understanding we'll have football, we'll have all the other sports, all the other extracurricular activities to make us good people.
Chances of you making it to the NFL are very slim to none, so I use football as a tool to get me to college.
In New Hope, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
In addition to the football practice, the team also had mandatory study hall on Mondays, and the coach also held ACT prep classes for his players. And you can see it's paying off.
Yeah, you like to see them do well.
That's right. Coming up, how a Champlin Park student is engaging classmates to become more tolerant of others.
But first, see how the Osseo girls and boys golf teams are honing their swings indoors. John Jacobson is in next.
Well, it's been a question all spring. Where do you play baseball? I mean, the poor kids have been in the gym forever.
It's like a broken record.
It's tough. Thank goodness for the Metrodome. But when that goes down after the Viking season, it'll be tough. But that'll be next year's problem. Outdoor baseball just isn't happening for high school baseball teams right now. The Metrodome is pretty well booked up, but 4 local squads did get some prime dome time in to play regular season games Wednesday. Totino-Grace faced Wayzata in one of those games. Third inning, and Totino-Grace pitcher Reggie Meyer in a jam. A wild pitch brings Nick Olmanson in with the game's first run. Wayzata's up 1-0. Bottom of the third, the Eagles tied up. Derek Lodemeyer with a ground ball to short. Mickey Leas' throw home is high. Brennan Swan scores, and it's a tie game. Later in the same inning, Matt Ludi, the single to center field. Lodemeyer scores. The Eagles scored 3 times in the inning. 3-1, Totino through 3. Bottom of the fifth, and the Eagles break it open. A.J. LaPanta drives the ball deep to right field. Lodi and Ben Smoot score on LaPanta's double. Grace leads 5-1. Later in the fifth, with the bases loaded, Charlie Miller unloads them. Miller triples to the fence and right, plating 3 more runs. Totino-Grace whips Wayzata 9-1 in the season opener for both teams. Hopkins is coming off a state tournament appearance last spring, while Armstrong has a lot of returning players this year. The Falcons facing the Royals, also at the Metrodome. Top of the second, Armstrong's Jack Wibben with a base hit up the middle to score Danny Carlson and puts the Falcons up 2-0. The Royals avoid further damage thanks to catcher Max Wiesner. Max Wiesner throwing out Nick Snyder at second to end the frame. Bottom of the third, Hopkins with runners at second and third, but Wibben gets a strikeout of Rory Ritz to get out of the jam. To the bottom of the fifth, Hopkins put together a 2-out rally. Ritz drops a hit just out of the reach of the shortstop. Jack Cherry scores to tie it. Ritz gets to second base on the throw home. And he comes home on the base hit by Eric Kramer as the Royals take a 3-2 lead after 5. Lefty Nate Ellis does the rest. He settles down after a shaky start. Ellis goes the distance, giving up just 3 hits. Hopkins wins, edging Armstrong 3-2. The Royals are now 2-0. In adapted softball, the powerhouse Robbinsdale Hopkins Mound Westaka Robins opened the season against the Wayzata Minnetonka Lakers with adaptive sports pioneer Ed Prohofsky on hand for this one. After the Lakers get 2 runs, the Robins' Jeremy Jost chops a hit down the third baseline. Joe Dubasar scores. Tyler Sarf also heads for home plate. The Robins score the maximum 5 runs in the bottom of the first to lead 5-2. It's another big inning in the second. Dubasar singles to left. Jimmy Flores races in to score for the Robins. They build on their lead, and they aren't done yet. Still in the second. Mike Madsen chops a hit to left. Sarf scores. Jost comes in behind him, and although this run doesn't count because they've reached the limit of 5, Madsen circles the bases 2 on this one. 10-2 Robins after 2. In the third, Charlie Whitmer with a hit to the gap in left center. Jordan Klein scores ahead of him. Whitmer circles the bases for a home run. The Robins cruise to a 16-4 win. As with most spring sports teams, local golfers are itching to get outside to play a round or 2. Osseo's golfers are making the most of it. Space is tight for the Orioles and other local squads at the Brooklyn Park Golf Dome. They try to hit balls at least a couple of times per week. Tryouts have not been held yet. It's tough to stay motivated with no actual golf being played.
Last year, we were really lucky to have like 70s, 80s. So it's kind of, you're used to having the nice weather, and now you have the setback of having it snow in April. So this is pretty disappointing, but I mean, it's been a snow to.
And hopefully as a coach, you do some fun things to keep kids interested while we're here at the Golf Dome, to do some competitive drills that will make them, a little bit more kind of focused on what they're doing.
There is no question that getting outside to play on an actual golf course is really what they want, but it's beneficial to work on your swing at a golf dome too.
I think it is. I mean, let's say you're getting a little lesson or something, you can come here and really work on what they're trying to teach you and just try to get that repetition. I think, you know, if you can get a good swing in here, keep working on it, maybe that'll, you know, go on the course.
Yeah, you can work on your tempo and just hitting the ball, and we have a bunch of new girls out, so we're looking at working on basic grip with them and seeing the ball go forward just a little bit.
The Osseo girls have already lost 4 matches or tournaments, and the boys 3 to postponements or cancellations. Close to being golf weather out there, right?
Oh.
Well, maybe not.
They're also positive, just making the best out of the situation.
Use an orange ball if
Yeah.
you go today.
Thanks, John. Still ahead, an extracurricular activity that's not all fun and games.
See what a Champlin Park student is doing to improve understanding on a sensitive topic. We're back in a moment.
Extracurricular activities can look good on a college application.
But this week's standout student from Champlin Park High School has another reason: improve religious tolerance. Elaine Cleveland explains.
Hope we're focused for this quiz.
In this Champlin Park biology class,
And it goes straight in line on populations.
today's lecture topic centers around populations.
Name me a way that you can figure out a population size and tell me about it.
It's a fitting topic for Annalise Lamberty, who has her hand in a number of different activities.
I'm in the IB diploma program here. I'm also in the orchestra and the chamber orchestra. I'm also captain of the debate team and the speech team.
But there's something else about populations that fascinates her, particularly the Muslim population and how society deals with Islamophobia.
So I think it's important to bring this to the front, you know, because it's an important issue.
Now, she wants to bring that subject to light by filming a documentary about the Muslim student experience to complete her IB diploma.
I chose Islamophobia because I think it's really important, but it's also really underaddressed.
All right, so
Talk to her teachers, and they look at her work ethic as a sign of future success.
because her work is very well done, it's always up to par, her tests are always great, and she's just a great girl. Just a great student, a teacher's dream to have a student like Annalise.
And for this junior, her teachers say the sky's the limit.
I think I'm a standout student because I'm a hard worker and I care about the things that I do.
At Champlin Park, Elaine Cleveland, 12 News.
Annalise is undecided on a college, but she said her top choice is New York University, where she hopes to study international relations and screenwriting. So there you go. Yeah, good for her. That'll do it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.